Like and subscribe to the channel, and for early access, become a Road to Tar Valon YouTube member.
There's so much TV right now. I feel like I'm not complaining also.
What do you think would make the top 3 shows of the year?
Ooh, I don't know. I loved Three Body
Me
Problem.
too.
I I adored it. I
Oh,
was so I was blown away. I was expecting less than what I got, to be honest.
I was too. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but it would probably be my top show for 23, 24 currently. Granted, we're pretty early in 24 right now, but as it stands now, Three Body Problem really blew it out of the water for me.
I agree. What was it that makes it stand out, do you think?
God, this is going to sound pompous, but
Do it. Do it.
the complex scientific theories, just, it's not common to see like incredibly intelligent people put into primary roles in the way that they were portrayed in this show.
Okay. Go a little bit deeper into that.
So when you look at characters like Saul or Jin or Yi or any of these scientists that are, now involved in this scenario, those aren't the kind of minds, like you don't usually see astrophysicists and things like that playing lead character roles in big shows. You have,
Mhm.
the more golden retriever type of personality in the lead role, something that everybody can relate, someone that everyone can relate to, kind of thing. And even though these characters may not have been like largely relatable to everybody, I still really enjoyed something that was so incredibly wrapped into science and things like that. I feel like I didn't say that right. I lost my train of thought somewhere. It just died.
No, but it makes sense. Like we're used to seeing a lot of really character driven shows. And typically, when things are character driven, we're focusing on the emotions a lot of the characters.
That's a good way to put it. It was really refreshing to get into something that was so incredibly plot driven.
Yeah. And on the same time, I think it's nice to see characters like we do have very emotional characters like Augie, but you have characters like Wade who are just, I mean, he's like drop kicking the plot forward. Like he is just like bulldozing his way through the story. Like, get your shit together, guys. We're doing this. Like
Right.
this is the plan. We're doing it. Let's go. And you're not getting like his deep thoughts and feelings on things. He's just kind of like announcing like this is the way that we're going to do this. Let's go. And then on top of that, you have characters like Saul, where he's a more like introspective kind of soft spoken, introverted guy. He gets put in this position of wall facer, and you start to see how his outlook on society and like the world, like the psyche of Saul, where it's like, why do I care if in 400 years these aliens show up? I'm going to be
The
dead. Like
way
everyone I ever cared about is going to be dead.
the way that you described how he comes to participate in being a wallflower catapulted him into my favorite character.
You said wallflower
Oh, I
again.
did.
I'm going to
So
call it that from now
I
on
keep calling it
forever.
wallflower instead of wall facer, but the way that he tackles being a wall facer is he's my favorite character now.
Tell me why. Just like
I'm trying to
his.
think of how to
What
say
is
it
it?
without like including spoilers for it. But to be so self-centered about it is it's I love it. I love that he turns this into benefiting himself at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited to see his season 2 storyline. But I think on like the first season, What's interesting is he's just kind of like the friend, you know? Like, we
Right.
know he had a relationship with Augie. It's like off and on. And he's kind of just that one that's there comforting Will, but in his own way. And I really appreciated that because he's being a really good friend and giving Will like his time and attention, but also not overwhelming Will with his own emotions. Like, you can't do this because I'll miss you. You can't do this because it's right. But he's coming to this conversation very factually. Like, Will, don't push the button. Like, what if you get there and the Santi are just gonna do this to you? Like, these are all of the possible outcomes. Like, we need to talk about this. Like, you need to think things through, brother.
There's nothing wrong
And
with
like,
that.
I found it so refreshing though, because it wasn't the stereotypical like sitting at his bedside weeping over the loss of his friend, but like, hey, these could be problems. We need to think about it and fix them. But also, I respect you and I respect your choice. And I'm not going to like interfere if you don't want me to. And it was just, I don't know, like it felt really wholesome in a weird way, but also a personality type that you don't often see in television given a role of such importance. Usually it's more of like the divas, like the Wades and the Augies that are like the important ones. But Saul is just like, for all we know right now, just this like guy who happens to be pretty smart. And it's like, it's funny you keep calling him a wallflower, but he is. Like, everyone has like these really strong kind of moments in the story, but Saul's kind of in the background until they like bring him up on stage and he's like, what the fuck? Like, what? Why me?
Yeah.
What? I don't want this.
I know that there was a lot of apprehension before the show came out about what D&D were going to do with it. You know, there's
Yeah.
the looming stain on their reputation of what happened with Game of Thrones in those final 3 seasons, particularly, and how they would handle 3-body problem. And I know that we've talked about this before, but I really think that now that I've seen 3-body problem air, that it gives a lot of credence to the idea that D&D are excellent at adaptations and weak in original screenplay writing.
Agreed. Oh, totally agreed. Absolutely.
And I think they did it
I don't think I would want to watch an original series by them.
Does that even exist? Because now I'm curious
no
if they've
idea.
ever written an original series. And then I'm the kind of curious where I'm like, should I watch it just to see?
Should I subjugate myself
Yeah.
to something that could be awful for science?
For science. It's just for research purposes. But I will say that they did an incredible job of like the visuals in this season.
I think so too, especially for the fact that like next season is going to be where the budget is really needed. Because as we've seen, like Wade, he's already, he's working on a fleet, like a space fleet. Raj is going to the moon. So
They're going on a trip in their favorite rocket ship.
Yeah, like it's the settings, the locations are going to change massively. Are we going to be spending as much time in London? I don't know. It's very possible that we're kind of like spread out all over the globe in the second season and also, like on the moon. So the budget is going to be really important and they're going to have to be really smart about how they, slice the pie.
Right. When I talk about the visuals, I think that them really investing in visuals is important for a story like this. Because the show would not have been as good if it didn't have engaging visual scenes to go along with it. Like just following them around to different places, listening to them talk about science. But like I was saying, it wouldn't have been as engaging of a show if we had just been like watching people have abstract discussions about aliens and science.
Absolutely agreed. Was there a certain scene or location or anything that
The
you
human
liked
computer.
the most? Okay.
The moment you said, was there
I love how there was no hesitation.
The human computer scene was one of the most memorable scenes I've seen in a television show for years.
Man, I'm going to have to find the clip of it from the Chinese
Okay, yeah, I would like to see
adaptation for you.
that.
It's much longer.
It was so unexpected and so well done.
I loved too the other players in the game, like that were like
Oh,
trolling.
yeah, like having random historical figures of magnitude importance there arguing. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, like there was a good amount of humor that I didn't expect there, which I think worked really well too. I don't know. It's
Absolutely.
just there's a lot of fun stuff happening with this show. I'm really excited for a second season. I hope to God they announce it soon